Hey everyone, I'm John Oden on the development team at Boson Software, and I'm joined by Bryan Baize and Boson-Bombal. Gentlemen, thank you for taking time out from what I know is a busy schedule to get on this conference. And for anyone that's been around the world of Cisco networking, these gentlemen need no introduction, but I'm going to provide just a little bit for those of you that may be a little bit new. Bryan Baize, hey Bryan, is on the team here at Boson Software. He is our senior technical instructor and has been so for many years. I joined Boson in 2005, Bryan, and you were around before then. Bryan is the holder, or is a holder, of the Cisco Certified Internet Networking Expert certification, which is kind of the pinnacle of Cisco certifications, and has for many years taught instructor-led training classes, hybrid training classes, and has helped many students over many years achieve their certifications at many different levels. Bryan, prior even to being at Boson, worked for a large Fortune 500 company and helped design networks and did training there as well. So Bryan, thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. David, thank you for being here. David is also a holder of the Cisco Certified Internet Network Expert certification. He has been an instructor for many years. He has designed and supported networks for organizations large to small to everywhere in between, and in more recent years has launched an opportunity for folks to learn and attain their own certifications, which we have been fortunate to collaborate with David on this 8 weeks to CCNA path, which we're here to talk about today. And I should also mention that both of these gentlemen hold the CCSI, which is the Cisco Certified Instructor certification for many years, which provides them the ability to deliver Cisco official curriculum. So gentlemen, thanks for being with us. I really appreciate it.
That's great, John. I'll just need to correct, just a correction. I am no longer a CCSI, but I was for many years.
Okay. Well, I know you were.
Yeah, I was. No, it's fine. It's I was for a long time, but yeah, since doing like YouTube videos and Udemy courses and stuff with Boson, I no longer teach Cisco classes, and yeah, I wasn't allowed to keep that any longer, which is a shame because it was great to have.
Right. Well, certainly appreciate you both being here. So let's talk a little bit about the 8 weeks to CCNA. David, maybe we start with you to talk about what was the genesis of this idea. Who is it made for, and what's unique about it as opposed to other training opportunities that may be out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I've been a fan of Boson for many years. I remember, showing my age here, but I mean, many years ago, looking at like Boson XSIM software for CCNA, and I've seen the NetSIM grow and the software grow over the years, and a lot of respect for Boson. So in recent years, I've started collaborating more and more with the Boson team, and it's been great. And this is sort of one of our new collaborations, 8 weeks to CCNA. I'm a big, advocate, if you like, or I really shout for people who can't afford very expensive courses. In the old days, we used to pay thousands. I mean, it's still like that today. If you go on an instructor-led course, you can pay thousands of dollars to attend a course like that, and it's
right.
5 days, and typically that was exclusive to either people who had lots of money or companies would send people on courses. And I've seen that the market shift, and it's become possible for people to get CCNA content for much lower prices. So I've done a lot of I shouldn't say instructor-led, but online training where people can buy courses for low cost. But there's always a missing piece. It's one thing to look at videos, perhaps get some labs, but it's a very different experience to have an instructor teaching you and an instructor able to help you. And I think this program is taking the best of the instructor world and the best of like self-paced training and putting it together. So rather than Bryan, I must bring you into this as well. Rather than as an instructor just teaching someone for 5 days, and after day one their brain might have melted already, and they're really struggling with the concepts. You can kind of like pace it over a period of time, and that's why we decided 8 weeks would be a good period of time. But I think the most amazing thing about this, and Bryan, I really want to turn it over to you, because you're the person who's leading this, is the office hours where students can ask questions. I think that's invaluable, because if you studying by yourself, okay, you could get a course for cheap, but it's very difficult when you have questions. You get stuck on subnetting, typical topic, or something else. You really struggle with access lists or something. And what do? You don't have help. But Bryan, you tell me, we've run 2 of these office hours, really successful, yeah?
Very much so, yes. And it's exactly what you're talking about. I've had so many of these, conversations of, I don't understand. And
yeah.
I looked at my book, and I looked at the, video of the course, and I looked on YouTube videos, and I don't understand.
Yeah.
Tell me in a way that makes me understand. So the one-on-one has been very valuable for that. Absolutely.
I think that's a great thing. I mean, this is a package of, and Bryan, you jump in sorry, John, I don't want to take it over, but I love this program because it's, you get videos, so you can get access to my courses, but you also get recorded sessions. So Bryan, you teaching like as a, like an instructor teaching a class, and you do that on Mondays, I believe. And then on Thursdays, you have the office hours. So, they get instructor-led training, which is more than you would get if you just had recorded courses or YouTube videos. You get those anyway, but you also get access to the NetSim and the XSIM software, which I think is brilliant, because it's a full package. And I hate sounding like a salesman, but I really believe in this product because you get everything. And it's not for the thousands of dollars that you would get if you went on an instructor-led course. Bryan, you know what it's like. You teach someone for 5 days and then they're gone. And then you're on your own again. But whereas here, you're taking them over a period of time. Sorry, go on.
It takes away the interruption to their life as well. I think it's a better schedule for everybody. Really, we're doing this current class that I'm in on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, and 2-hour sessions. And then I'm doing the office hours, variable times, either Wednesday or Friday. And, they have time to do their work. I think that's been a real challenge with my 5-day classes for years, is that people have a hard time being away from their job, and their job, letting them do their studies. So you've got plenty of time during the day to do your tasks, and then also attend your session. It kind of keeps people on task. I think it's it's a lot to ask to say to attend a class for only 5 days and be ready to pass the exam at the end of that. This kind of forces them to kind of stretch out a little bit and spend the time that's really required. You're looking at 8 weeks now. It keeps you on task. Like you said, with video training, your video training is amazing. When I want to learn things, I go watch your videos to do it. But you have to have the skill set to do that. You have to be able to focus. It's really easy to turn off that video and close that laptop and go away and forget about it. This is keeping people on task. You've got to be there for your session every week for 8 weeks in a row. It keeps your mind focused on what you're trying to learn.
Years ago, the model was for folks to travel to a training center and spend money on hotels and airfare and thousands of dollars for a 5-week course. But this really makes this knowledge available to a much wider audience, wouldn't you say?
Got people from all over the world. In the first class, I had a 17-year-old gentleman from Poland in my class.
Wow.
And I'm in Florida in the United States. And it was just amazing to see the reach that we had, people from everywhere.
Sort of something else, Bryan, how many times has it happened to you? Someone's on a 5-day course and then they get a call from the office and they in the class, but they're doing support at the same time.
Yeah, my statement there is usually you can't learn OSPF from the parking lot on your phone. It's so much of that goes on where they're called away. And since the pandemic hit, we've had even more of people actually have to leave. They go back to work and they don't attend the class anymore.
Whereas here, if someone misses a session, it's recorded and they can watch it later. But they can also ask you questions if they didn't get it. So if they miss a instructor-led portion on Tuesday night currently, and that's only 3 hours, isn't it? So it's not like a whole day.
2 hours. Yeah. 4 to
2 hours.
6. 2 hours on Tuesday night and 2 hours on Thursday night.
I mean, that's a short time in the day. So
you go to your typical 5-day class and there's a lecture that goes on for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And then the students are set to lab and you get, 30 minutes of lab time. And at the end of that lab time, I'm like, okay, let's go to the next thing. Whether you were finished with a lab or not, you kind of have to move on. And in this schedule, I do my 2-hour session on a Tuesday and I tell them what needs to be done for homework, and they've got plenty of time to do it, and they can commit as much time as they need to, or as they're able to do it. So it gives them more time to, do that lab and do it multiple times if they want to, and do it multiple ways. We're giving them, here's a lab, here's one of David's videos you can watch. Here's a few other YouTube people that you could watch. Here's a white paper from Cisco you could read, and here's a Wikipedia page, and here's a Cisco live session that you can watch. And they're just kind of buried in extra information, and they can spend the time that they want to get that done.
I think that's great. I mean, in the old days, this is what I actually wanted to talk about earlier. In the old days, you were stuck with the instructor that you got, and you hoped that instructor was good. And, it was luck of the draw. You go to a big training company, hopefully the instructor's good. But the world's changed now. Like you mentioned, you might take some of my videos, you might take videos from other people who have posted on YouTube, you might take Cisco Live, but they're getting, in this case, I mean, I must rave about you as an instructor. I've heard from my team who've been supporting this, how great you are, and how, you make things that are complicated, like subnetting, so much easier. And I must get you on a YouTube video so that you can explain it to the wider audience, the trick with subnetting that you've got. But it's, you're a CCIE. To get a CCIE to teach CCNA isn't always easy. Someone with experience in the real world who's certified, but also who's not just stuck on themselves. They'll show you resources all over the place. And I'm all for it. You use some of my videos, but perhaps I don't explain something really well, then use someone else's videos for that piece. Use the resources out there to help you pass, whatever those resources are. And I must say, like the XM, I'm a big fan of the XM software because it verifies that you actually know what you think you know. I don't know if you agree with that, but you can listen to a lecture, think you're good, but when you get into NetSim and XM, that really tests you to see if you actually know what you thought you knew.
David, let's break down what is all included in the 8 weeks to CCNA. Obviously, there's the instructor led, the mentorship, but we also have some software products that are included with that. Let's break it down as to exactly what all is included.
As soon as the students sign up and pay for the class, they're granted access to several things. One of those being our softwares, the XM Max Practice Exam, which is kind of the best in the business, right? Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do practice test questions, but what sets ours apart is all of the explanations. Like you can look at a question and you can know that the answer is B, but then you read below and it explains to you why B is the correct answer. And more importantly to me, why the other answers aren't the correct answer.
Right.
Yeah.
My study process is to eliminate the wrong and then be left with the correct. That works better for me. Then there's the NetSim, which is our router and switch simulator. And, there's plenty of different ways to get practice time on lab equipment for routers and switches. What sets ours apart is the lab material. Very often you'd get a hold of a simulator or emulator product and you have routers and switches in front of you and you're kind of left with, what do I do now? And the lab material and the NetSim takes care of that. So you've got good labs, you've got grading of those labs so you know whether you did it correctly or not. They also get some video. So they're going to get the recordings of the video, the sessions I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then they also get access to one of David's prior classes of CCNA. So I don't know how many hours of content that is, David, but it's a lot.
There's 80 hours, yeah. It's a long course, yeah.
Yeah. And then I do a lot of handout worksheets. Like, for example, when we want to talk about the wildcard mask, I would have them give me all of the subnet mask values that exist, and also the corresponding wildcards that go with those. And that would be something that's a PDF that the students would fill in the answers to. And then, we would talk about the answers to that in one of the office hour sessions, for example, or they'll email it to me and I'll grade it for them. So there's a dozen or so of those different handouts that they'll get access to. And then
The courseware. I mean, the courseware is another one, yeah, because you don't have to buy a book. I don't know if you mentioned courseware.
Right. So you get the typically courseware.
Yeah.
So a course guide and a lab guide goes along with it. So there'll be some reading that they can do there as well. Then I've put together a list of links for, you know, extra material that I mentioned earlier, like YouTube videos, for example, and Cisco live sessions and white papers and things like that, things that are relative to each class. So there's a schedule. They'll see what we're going to cover each of the weeks and what the homework would be for each of those weeks.
I think that's it. Oh, sorry, go on. I was going to interrupt you, sir.
I think that's everything they get access to. Apologize.
But I think the difference here is it's curated, if you like. You've put a plan in place rather than just random books, random videos. You've kind of like, this is what you need to do this week. This is what you need to do next week. And it's like a roadmap, if you like, or a path of stuff. And you've taken like resources on YouTube, but added it where you think it's relevant. And that makes it a lot easier when you're starting, you know, someone who can guide you down the path.
And it's something you mentioned earlier, like when I was preparing for my CCIE, it was kind of recommended that people would ask, you know, what should I use for a provider of materials? And the best answer I heard was all of them, because you're going to see each of those instructors has different strengths, and your only limitation is the ability to afford it, right? So I put in there a bunch of different sources to kind of let the student figure out, you know, who they like to learn from, what style they like best.
It's very important, because like I might be better at network automation, but weak at something else. And some people like my accent, some people don't, and that's fine. Just use the resources that are right for you.
Well, gentlemen, it's obviously been very well received, and I'd like to read just a couple of comments from some of the folks that have been a part of this, and I'll read right now. This student writes, "I've taken distant learning college classes in which the instructor just read the PowerPoint slides. This was nothing like that." And involved good discussion and interaction from students. Bryan is a great instructor and enjoyed the class, or I enjoyed the class. That's from Eric K. And another, instructor was awesome. Also liked the recorded session so I could go back and view it later and pause to work out the lab along with the lecture. That's Mark H. The instructor was my favorite. I've had a few networking live instructors. Bryan has by far been the most positive experience from Jason L. So gentlemen, very well done. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I must say, John, it's not me. You know, Bryan's the one that's doing all the hard work. I can add, and you know, from my point of view, it's just great to work with you guys, because it's you know, Boson team is a great team, and you know, Bryan, really appreciate you putting in all the effort. And you know what I've heard from my team and others as well is you always go the extra mile, and I think you get one of the problems with some instructors, or when you're trying to study, is people expect you to know something when you don't, and they can't handle it if you struggle. Whereas you take the time, you know, you'll go over subnetting multiple times, you'll go over a topic multiple times if needed. And I think that's what's fantastic about like the office hours. If someone is really struggling, they can spend time with you one-on-one if necessary to, you know, get over that hurdle. I mean, for the price, I mean, I must say it's fantastic that we can do this, because to get one-on-one with an instructor who's a CCIE, it's not that easy. You're going to go pay your thousands of dollars for that. So yeah, really appreciate you taking the time and putting the effort in, Bryan. I've heard fantastic feedback from everyone, so thanks.
Thank you. I would say that, you know, the sessions that you and I have taught together, where we've co-taught, have been some of my favorites. I've taught thousands of hours of training in my life, and those have been very special. So thank you for that. It's been a lot of fun bouncing off of you. And I'd say, you know, it's a little bit selfish on my part. There's really nothing better than seeing the light go on in somebody's eyes. And you get that from CCNA students. I think you and I had this discussion in the opening of our first session. It's when the students come in, what the instructor wants out of that student is for them to have a desire to learn. And, you know, sometimes the ones that are kind of in the middle of their career are a little bit standoffish, or kind of feel like they know everything already. And, you know, the CCNA is usually very, very hungry and very gratified when they, you know, it's to see them actually get it, if that makes any sense.
No, I agree. There's nothing worse than teaching someone who doesn't want to be taught. And it's fantastic when people are hungry to learn. And I think that's important. You need to be hungry. So don't join the class if you're not interested in learning. This is for people who want to learn and want to pass their CCNAs. And I must mention Andrew, because Andrew is a chap who works with me. He's also based in the US. Andrew's like the ultimate, in my experience, person to support people who need help. He runs the Discord, runs my Discord.
That's one thing we forgot about, the Discord. Yeah, so important. And all of your team has been really good in the Discord, but yeah, carry on.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, Andrew's enemy, he's a rock star. He's the kind of guy who doesn't get tired of someone asking the same question 1,000 times. I don't have the patience that he has. So, I mean, I must give him a shout out, because he and I mean, the rest of the Discord moderators are fantastic. How they do it, I don't know, because when people can be very, very demanding on Discord, and, demand, I need help right now. And a lot of the team on the Discord, the moderators are, they're volunteers, and they just do it to help people. So yeah, I really want to thank all of them.
So I've been doing this a long, long time, and he made a statement one day that I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. Somebody came in with a problem, and he said, if you're looking for a shortcut, quit looking for that. Do the work. And that was so profound to me. It's like I've not been able to put that in such clear words, and it was really neat to see. And there's not been a time yet where somebody asks a question, and when I see it, it's already been covered. There's been discussion from 2 or 3 moderators having this discussion, and there's not been one that I've had to correct. They're spot on every single time, which is impressive.
It's great. I mean, the moderated team is fantastic, and Andrew leading it has been great. The problem is, as your like, for in my case, as your social media profile grows, you just can't get to everyone, and it's fantastic to have that team that are putting the effort in. And I must say that's an international team as well. People in the UK, US, lots of countries helping. It's fantastic to have people from different parts of the world helping.
So your Discord's not that small either, right? It's 70,000 odd people have
That's
joined
right.
Discord to share knowledge. And
but I must say, for the CCNA, we have a dedicated channel. So if you join the CCNA, you will get special treatment, if you like. So it's not like in the general Discord. It's a special channel just for people who are part of this.
And there's quite a bit of kind of dedicated learning that goes on there. You're right. It's they're very responsive. I'm in there a lot, and then your moderators are in there, like you said, they're just always there. I don't know how they do it.
No.
Pretty quick to respond to problems or helping people learn.
Well, gentlemen, as we wrap this up, Bryan, what would you have to say to folks that are future participants, possibly in 8 weeks to CCNA?
Say, they always say the best time to start learning something is yesterday, right? So if you've been putting it off and it's something that you need,
and the next best time is today.
That every network engineer needs. If you're going to have a career in this industry, it's kind of mandatory. So get started, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes I'll have these discussions with students, and they want to work out a plan. Like, where should I begin? And it's like, at the end of the day, just begin. It doesn't matter where you begin, just get started. I think a lot of people think they're going to learn something once, and they want to make sure they do it in the right order. So they do it serially, like they're supposed to. It's like, nope, just jump in wherever you want, right? This is a fine place to start, and expect to have to repeat and learn and learn and learn.
Absolutely. Well, Bryan, you've helped many people achieve their learning goals, and we certainly appreciate it. David, to you, what would you say to new folks that are not quite yet part of this program?
I think it's like Bryan said, if you only need to be hungry. That's the thing. You need to you need to have the desire to learn. And in this game, in technology, you never stop learning. So it doesn't matter where you come from. I've heard hundreds or thousands of stories of people who have come from very difficult situations and have changed their lives through CCNA. Bryan, you've probably had the same. People might have been working in a retail environment, might have been working in some very horrible job, and then this is their sort of gateway into IT, into networking. And I need to address this. Some people think CCNA only means you can become a network engineer. I don't think that's true anymore. The world has opened up. So many careers like cybersecurity, the cloud, etc., require a knowledge of networking. CCNA is, in my opinion, the de facto networking certification. Everything's built on that. And that's why I'm a big advocate of CCNA. If you pass your CCNA, a lot of doors open. Just go and have a look at the job sites. Go and look on LinkedIn and other places and do a search for CCNA. You'll see thousands and thousands of jobs. I think it's one of the best certifications to get, and it can carry, the knowledge that you gain here will carry you through your career, because the world runs on TCP/IP, runs on networks.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if you do cybersecurity, like I said, the cloud, whatever. Having a good understanding of networking is extremely important. And I think this is probably one of the best certifications that you can get, especially early in your career.
Right.
It's a good foundation. Sorry.
It's a gateway, and it can lead to many, many more things above and beyond. And this is a great entrance into a wonderful career path that I think all three of us have benefited from, and hope we can introduce a lot more people to it.
I'll just say this, I always like to motivate people. Don't let the naysayers stop you. Don't let people who have told you that you can't do it hold you back. I always say ignore those people.
Yes.
I recently, used an example of my daughter. She's 15 now. When she was a few months old, she almost died. And a lot of the medical doctors, and I don't want to say anything bad about medical doctors, but we were told that she would never be able to put a sentence together. She won't be able to communicate or speak. She won't be able to write. And, she's already published multiple books. And the only reason she hasn't published more is because I'm slow at getting them published. She's writing, she's creating her own stories, stuff like that. And that is, for me, like very personal, but it's, don't let other people tell you that you can't do it, whoever those people are. And I don't want to use that as an example. I've had people criticize me and say, don't talk against medical people. But my parents are medical doctors, and they've also amazed at how far she's come. And I always say, if people are out there saying that you can't do it, ignore them if this is really what you want to do. But you have to decide. You have to be the person that makes that decision. Believe in yourself and do it.
Absolutely. David, thank you for sharing that. That's inspirational. Bryan, any words to wrap us up?
Sign up today. Can't wait to get started to help you along this journey and get you going.
Yep. The best time to start was in the past, but the next best time to start is now.
That's right.
Bryan, David, thank you so much for taking this time out. I know you guys have a tremendously busy schedule, but we really appreciate you being together on this video conference. And to all of our viewers, thank you, and engage with us in the comments below this video. If you have a question, if there's any way we can help you along your certification studies or path at all, please just let us know. Thank you, guys.